Yes.
All right.
Everything
Bizarre.
should be technically correct.
Hey!
Hey guys.
Welcome to
Hey.
28% power left on the laptop.
Welcome to
ScrubBudz.
Life Without Mark.
Yeah. Few technical difficulties.
Getting it up and running.
So, Will, why don't you tell everybody about today's special event?
I wanted to kind of change the format a little bit today and tell a real-life, absolutely true, somewhat spooky story. This is something that actually happened in my real life, and I'm going to tell it as truthfully as possible. Hatter and Richard don't know what's going on, but I'm going to try and get it across as easily as possible. But yeah, this is slightly different than what we normally do for ScrubBudz, but I figure it's worth, like, it should be hopefully an
I like
interesting
stories.
piece. You guys,
Do you guys like stories?
we'll get
What are you
in
doing?
this pretty good.
What are you doing? You sure? Okay, that sounds good.
All right, so they're gonna play some
playing?
spooky games in the background while I
Spooky games.
tell this story. It's a story about a kitten, a lost kitten, some pretty scary trees, and some like an actually legitimately scary building. So hopefully
Not
this,
like any of those bullshit half-scary
Glad
buildings.
it's
no,
daylight.
This is legitimate.
Oh, and also, Zombies Ate My Neighbors for Super Nintendo.
Let's start options.
true.
Yes.
Oh, is this a two-player game?
Yes, it is.
Did I press start? Did you go
All
without
right.
me? Did you
Let's
leave
get this
without me?
going.
I think I did.
All right, you guys good?
Oh fuck.
Wait for it. What? All right.
Oh,
Looks like we're-
Fuck it. You do a level. I want to listen to this harrowing
this
tale.
spooky story.
I'm not.
So, let's start off with the main characters. So, if you don't know about this, I have a cat. Her name is Littles. She came back with me from Japan for my time over there, and she is she's very independent, and she also she adopted me while I was over there on while I was over on a biking trip. And it was she was very, very convincing in her in her adopting me.
I got
So
she's
she
very-
adopted you.
Yes, she adopted. Which is a whole different story for another time.
Sure.
But
Illegal.
so she's great. This is about 9 years ago from the beginning of the story. Yeah. So my girlfriend and one of our very good friends
Speaking of girlfriends.
and I moved into this this very large house about a year and a half ago.
It is
It's
large.
very so if you've seen any of our videos where we do the where we're doing
Fighting.
the fighting games, like that's where
Altercation equation. Don't
that's the
forget
one.
that branding.
That's the one. You'll see some of the interior of that house. It's a huge. It's pretty freaking big. And under normal circumstances, we wouldn't have been able to move into this place, but you know, it's going to be torn down in about within the next year or so, just because they're developing that area. But let's see. As soon as we moved into this house,
Will, did you have us go to a haunted house?
dude, you're gonna hear this, man. It's gonna be
Wait
fucking
a
spooky,
minute.
dude.
We've been in
So,
this house.
You guys have been there. So, did you guys go on the full tour of the yard?
Yeah, where there was a ghost that gave me a blowjob. Yeah.
Okay. So there's
I remember that.
Wait, was that you?
the ghost the ghost job. So there is a so one of the things that the last owners of the house, I've only met them once, told me is
Which
that
killed them.
it is to never mess with the trees, and that their dad particularly didn't. He hated this house, but he loved the house, but he hated the house, which is kind of weird.
Wait,
Like
he
an
loved it, but he
infatuated
hated it?
ghost trying to seduce you into fucking them, and then the ghost is like, "Hey, I'm gonna bite your dick off."
Jesus.
Something like that.
Like, right? Like, I
No.
love it, but I hate it.
Something like it. So we've got so when we first moved into this house, before we talked to anybody about it, on the very first night that we went there, there's like 10 acres of lot that we went to go explore. So myself and our friend, myself, my girlfriend, and our friend go and explore this lot, and we find this old abandoned house. We find a greenhouse, a barn, another barn, an entire racquetball court, and then way off in this shady forest, there's a built like a tiny little shack. And the first time that we saw it, like everybody got super spooked out by it.
Murder
and
shack.
and we started calling it the Murder Shack. Like as soon as we saw it, it's like, that looks like a shack.
Can I ask you
It
one
looks like a
question real
shack.
quick?
Huh?
The story that you're telling us right now,
Mhm.
did you recently find out stuff that you're telling us?
Yes, this happened this week.
Oh shit! I was
This is
wondering.
I
this
thought this was like a
freaking week.
year ago.
Oh
So
my
like this all
God.
plays into like this very week, and it'll get there. But so the
Wow.
okay, so a year and a half
dumb.
ago, we start calling this shed the Murder Shack.
I remember.
You look at it, and it looks like it comes out of a freaking horror film, and like it's just it
Caked in
fits.
blood.
Everybody who sees it, it's kind of dilapidated. There's holes in it.
Not
There's
like a
weird
blood cake.
creatures living under it. It's just got, it
Weird
looks
creatures like roly-polies.
something. There's like, if you open up the inside, there's nothing but like a bunch of spiders
like,
everywhere.
yeah,
So
okay.
like it's
Okay,
just,
yeah, you
it's
sold
really
me.
spooky.
Sold.
And okay, so there's the murder shed. I've talked about littles for a little bit, and
Oh,
then
it's
there's
my
the
turn.
trees that are around the murder shed, which are absolutely gorgeous.
Can we
Love
just
that-
say?
They're
Can
bigger.
we just say
Murder
murder
shed.
shed 3 more times?
Murder shit.
All right, we're
Okay.
gonna do murder shed.
So here's where we get to pretty close to current day here. Over the
1997.
weekend, I haven't been living at the house. I've been living with my brother for recently, just because it works out better. But I get a text from my girlfriend on Monday saying that Littles has been missing for the last 48 hours. She has
Shit.
learned how to jump up and open the doors because they have little flapper doors. They have little
Flappers?
like they have
from the
little.
20s?
They don't have doorknobs. They've got little door flaps.
That's good.
And she's got she's learned how to open up these doors and get out and escape, which is pretty traumatic. I mean, it's always like whenever you lose like a loved pet, like it's definitely gets you kind of going.
Especially one
here.
that's really smart that could just open doors.
Yeah, and this is a new trend. She hasn't known how to get out. She's sneaked out a couple times, but she now knows for a fact that she can get out and just go and like run wild for it.
This cat finds like a hidden passage.
So she runs out, and I find out on Monday that she's been missing for 48 hours because they hadn't been able to find her in the meantime. So I go over to the house and spend 5-6 hours in the Texas summer sun, combing the entire forest around our house. Again, it's 10 acres and it's heavily wooded, and I'm just running back and forth trying to find this cat. It's heartbreaking. I can't, it doesn't. And sun goes down at the end of the night, and I'm still looking for another hour and a half. She doesn't show up.
I'm gonna.
At this point, I go down and I'm getting exhausted.
What does it smell like?
It smelled like dust and like rock and
Dust and
shit
rock.
and, like a bunch of
I'm there now.
It's
Gross.
real hot. It's like super hot. And
Hot
it's,
dust
yeah,
and
it's
rock.
It's pretty bad. So I'm upset, understandably, but I'm trying to stay confident about it. That she's been lost before. She's at one time she was lost for a week.
No,
But she did come
damn.
back. We
She
found
came
her.
back after a week.
No, we found her in a neighbor's garage at that point.
Oh.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, there's still hope. I'm still. It's been only 3 days since she started being missing, so yeah, I've got my, I've got some spirit left in me. I go and since I've been living in that house, here's kind of a little bit of a side story. There's some very large trees on our lot that just for whatever reason they feel really they feel extra tree-ish, right? You see them, you're like, wow, that's a big fucking tree. Like, this is just huge. And so I'll go and spend time out down there and kind of meditate, do some yoga, do what you need to. But it's something that I commonly do. So about once every, basically 2 to 3 times a week during the last year and a half, I've spent time with these trees. Trying to relax, trying to
Did
get
you
my head
name 'em?
straight. There's one that's numbered. That's
The murder tree?
Well, it's 3666. It's the one that's been tagged.
3666.
That's the tree number that so they
Jesus
went through
Christ.
and did they made a map of the land when they were
Sure.
moving, and so they made sure that,
right,
and
okay.
this tree was labeled 366.
366.
Anyway, it's a big tree. It's a gorgeous tree.
Gorgeous tree.
And it's both the trees that that I talk about are relatively close to the murder shed. So I mean, they're within like one is the closest large tree to the
To
murder
the
shed,
murder shed.
and then there's the river on the other side of these trees.
Yeah.
There's a river on the other side of the trees. I go and like spend time with the trees, and I'm like, you know, believe what you will, like trees are alive and they're old, and they've got
They
something
got stories
going on.
to tell.
They've been around a lot longer
Especially
than I
through
have.
666.
So I mean, you know, I'm upset
See some
about
shit.
me losing my cat, and
lot
I
of
kind
bird
of,
shit.
you know, this is, you know, kind of my. He's a buddy of mine. I'm not gonna say we talk, but he's like, you know, I've spent a lot of time with him.
Sure.
This tree, and it's very like, you know, I'm
I mean, you
upset.
drink with the people that you hate.
And so we, you know,
Solid.
I made it kind of known that I was looking for my cat, and I was upset. The next day,
I don't like this. It feels.
I come back,
Here, try this.
and I'm looking for Littles again out in the forest, and I'm out there for another 2 hours in the sun, like walking back and forth, yelling her name, whistling for her, doing whatever I can to get her attention.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm walking along one of the fence lines, like I'm yelling for her, and I'm getting really tired. Like I'm getting exhausted, I'm getting dehydrated.
Hey, how do I change
And I'm
weapons?
getting like,
X. Okay.
Yeah. so I'm getting
Triangle.
excited. I'm getting upset about it. And
Sure.
the farther I get down towards the river, which is on the north side of the property, the more and more I get like upset, and you know I can't, like I'm starting to get like where it's really hard for me to move, and you know
You're
keep
getting
going.
real fucked in the head.
And
You're getting caught up.
I
in the crossfire.
decide to take a minute, and like I'm within arm's reach from this murder shed, and I'm just like I'm sitting there, and I realize like I'm looking for Littles. I've been yelling for at least like 9-10 hours at this point, and I'm just standing there in front of this murder shed, and
Can we have a counter?
I'm
A murder shed counter?
No,
Yes.
I'm not doing
I
that.
have to stop what I'm doing because I'm just so exhausted, and all I'm thinking about is Littles and her being lost and her being afraid and what she must feel like. So like I'm trying to, you know, no matter how bad I feel, she's probably more scared than I am. So, you know, you got to keep on. And then so I sit there, take a minute, and just absolutely like hope that she comes back.
Yeah.
And like just let it be known that like this is what I'm looking for. And I look down, and I see with like the flashlight that I was using, like even though it's during the day, I look down and I see this tiny little green bug casing. It was this iridescent green bug case, and it's
Right
fucking,
there.
it's creepy looking. And I pick it up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this before. Never seen one of these before. And I'm just sitting there kind of in a moment where I'm silent and thinking to myself, and all of a sudden from way over like the hedges, I hear somebody call back, like, hey, you who's yelling? You looking for a cat? And I'm like, yeah, I'm looking
Yo,
for a
fuck,
cat.
I've been looking for a
I'm
cat,
totally
telling a
looking for
story about
cat.
looking
Oh
for
my
a cat for like an hour.
Oh my god, I'm looking for a cat. Yes, just stay where you are. Fuck yeah, be right there. Like I'm freaking out. So like I run, and it's one of the neighbors. He's, you know, probably high school age.
Which
And-
set of neighbors? Since there's like a scary, weird set.
It's
and
actually
good set.
There's the neighbors that are like, we called it like there's like a big huge house like up on the hill. Like there's a so they're in the big house up on the hill. But like I
The
run
hippie
over
house.
there, he lets me out, like he, you know, gets me through the fence, and then I run up, and sure enough, there's Littles. She's underneath a truck, like a tractor trailer, and she's like curled up and just like hanging out, and like sweet, okay, she's here, found her. This is freaking awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay, so with the help of my two neighbors, like we get Littles, we kind of wrangle her, we get her back. She's back home safe. She's back at the house, and totally freaking excited that she's back, which is awesome. But that's not the end of the story.
Nice.
So, like, she comes back, and you know she's at the house. I'm all relieved, and then, you know, this is great. This is totally like celebratory worthy that she's back at the house. I get a text the next day saying that, or I gave my information to my neighbor, so if she ever got loose again, to let her, text me directly if they see her, because I guess she's been going over to their house and eating food that's been left outside for a fox.
That makes sense.
And other stuff. So she's been eating food, she's been getting water and whatnot.
Involved? There's a fox.
So I go, I'm back. The next day, I get a text from my neighbor saying she's back. She's seen her again. She's seen Littles again, hanging out in the back porch. And I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. Okay. So we go back. I drive back to the house, or my neighbor's house, and look around again. So I'm looking around the property. Don't have any sign of Littles at all. Neighbor, who I haven't said more than maybe 10 sentences to her, comes up and she tells me, she's as I'm about to leave, she's like, oh, you should know, I'm myself and my son are part of the local paranormal society.
Oh my god.
Just so you know.
Yeah, it's just
so
you know, happenstantially she's part of the local paranormal society. I was like, oh, that's interesting. She's like, oh yeah, did you know that
did you know?
Did you know the murder shed is a murder shed?
That their house was built 30 years ago on a Native American burial ground.
Just like a real horror movie.
Like a real fucking horror movie. And you know what? Before this land, we have deeds for this land, and it goes all the way back to 1840s, 1850s, where it was owned by Mexico. And before the Mexicans army took over that land, they massacred the entire native population by the river on our property,
talking about the
which
water
is
bridge?
20 fucking yards away from the real fucking murder shed.
There's the low battery.
There's a murder shed.
The murder shed. So there was an actual massacre on our property right next to this murder shed, which we'd been calling it a murder shed for a year and a half as a joke.
Oh my god, dude.
And now it's an actual fucking murder shed.
And I mean, with erosion and the rotation of the earth, 20 feet, I mean, that's basically underneath that shed.
It's just how do you even it's a joke, but it's not a joke now, and I don't know what to call it because I used to call it a murder shed, and now I feel bad if I call it a murder shed.
Oh
but
my
it was
God.
just
But we just call it murder shed.
Do you feel bad about the
50
counter
times.
on this murder shed?
Stop with the murder.
So yeah. So I guess the
Wow.
trees were planted there as to be there
As a
as
commemoration,
some sort of memorial
As a
for
memorial?
the Native Americans
3666.
Oh my god.
and just I don't know the total history of it, but this is
that's enough, I
absolutely
think.
true to everything that I've heard so far about this place. So as far as a real spooky story, I felt this was absolutely necessary to tell you guys about this story.
Yeah.
First person actually lived this thing.
That's
Were they hung?
I don't know. There's a tree out there that looks like it.
3666, man.
That's how many times? What?
It's
That's how
Illuminati
many times they
confirmed.
sacrificed?
Yeah. So, there's that.
There's.
Oh my god, dude.
All right.
The fact that we saw it a year and a half. We saw that building a year and a half ago, and within seeing it, we just knew that it's that's what we're gonna call this building.
So if Littles were ever to pass away, we could dig up the ending burial ground, and then
Richard.
create a
Richard.
Well, not sacrifice it. I don't think there's a sacrifice involved in bringing back animals from the dead.
No, you just have to bury her in a.
Or am I thinking about the pet cemetery?
Pet
I'm not
cemetery,
talking about
yeah.
pet cemetery,
Yeah.
am I? All right.
So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated with anything else we find out about this.
And if you have noticed that Will has been gone for any certain period of time, check the 3666.
Smell for rocks
Dude,
and dust.
that is for real just crazy.
So are they living there because they're part of the paranormal society?
And I don't think that's I don't think that was initially why
Oh,
they
Is
were
it just
there.
happenstance for them?
Colt.
They-
Just saying.
Are they part of a paranormal society or the paranormal society?
Are they
'Cause
part
if
of the
it's
paranormal?
A paranormal society, I'm worried.
It's
I'm worried.
one of the. It's the local paranormal society. If you
Yeah,
look them
local
up on,
meaning your house
right,
and the
the-
murder
the-
shit
well, there's
local
like
chapter of
if
the
you believe what
Paranormal
you read
Society.
online, there's like 30 members.
of Facebook.
Yeah, well, it's,
Of the Illuminati?
no, not
Confirmed.
just.
Is there a triangle in the shot?
Shut up.
Zoom in on it.
God damn it!
I love creating edits for the
'Cause I
people
know
that do
I'm gonna
edits.
have to fucking do this. I don't see any
I mean, only if
triangles.
you want it to be a good episode. Wow, and look at that,
That is not a
exit right at the
triangle.
end.
Well,
You
I hope you guys
died?
enjoyed my story.
No,
And we'll keep going for you know, and we'll play some more fucking video games.
Yeah! Woo!
Love your kitties.
Woo! Little kid. Littles.
Don't let your kitties
Close.
grow up to be murdered sheds.